Dark Horn says he snorts the beam dream powder. Don't do that. No. We do not recommend that. You got to take it the proper way. Drink it, sir. Drink it. It's delicious. Don't snort it. It's not the way it's supposed to go. Exit only. Well, actually, entrance for oxygen, I guess. Anyway, whatever. Irrelevant. Okay, hey, let's get into the show today. You know who's lacking oxygen to the brain? It's Republicans in Indiana. These idiots who just voted against redistricting in their state, which would have given Republicans just two, I said it, 1, 2, that's it, 2 congressional seats, and they can't even do that for us. If you're interested in the big explanation on this, go to yesterday's program, Thursday's podcast, and you can watch or listen and get a sense of just how cruel and unusual and dastardly the left has been when it comes to rigging elections all across the country, whether it's importing millions of illegal aliens and padding election numbers in terms of the Electoral College or congressional seats or changing the way you vote in 2020, all of those things. But here we're talking about redistricting. Democrats have drawn districts all across the country in order to disenfranchise Republican voters en masse. They are out for blood and they're playing like it. Meanwhile, Republicans are playing patty cake. And Indiana Republicans just did exactly what we told them not to do yesterday. And as a result, a bunch of these guys are looking at MAGA primaries coming their way, and deservedly so. But let me take you through what happened yesterday. Yesterday, we do get some Republicans in the state of Indiana who are saying, guys, this is really simple. We have to take this from a 7-2 state to a 9-0 map, and we have to do it now. And listen, this is the Indiana Senate Majority Leader, Chris Garton, yesterday, who made a very forceful case for why we need to get to 9 Republican seats in the great state of Indiana. Watch.
Some will say these maps are political. Let me be clear. You're damn right they are. Political policy is political. Safe streets are political. Look at Indianapolis. Affordable electricity is political. A drug-free Indiana is political. Peace in the Middle East is political. I dealt with it firsthand. If drawing a map that secures 2 more seats for the Republican Party means that we continue to see overdose deaths drop by 20%, then I'll draw that map every single day of the week and twice on Sunday.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
If drawing a map means that we'll continue to see a 93% drop in illegal immigration, then I'll sign it with a smile on my face. We're not here to be neutral arbiters of decline. We're here to be active agents of American greatness.
This guy knows what's on the line. This guy knows what time it is. He's saying a really basic thing. I don't want open borders. I don't want drugs killing American citizens. I don't want an out-of-control economy. I don't want the left to return to the levers of power wherein they use them to destroy my country. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to vote to make it so that we get 2 more Republican seats, so we're a little bit closer to making sure that the left stays at bay. And yet, the broad majority of Indiana Republicans in the Senate failed us yesterday. The Indiana Senate failed us yesterday. The thing went down in flames. 21 Republican senators broke with their party and joined Democrats in voting down the redraw. That means yesterday it was a 19-31 defeat. Just 19 Republicans voting for it, 21 Republicans voting against, joining 10 Democrats in the process. How disgusting. Indiana Governor Mike Braun, Republican, announced yesterday that he will be joining President Trump's efforts to hold these people accountable. I'm very disappointed a small group of misguided state senators have partnered with Democrats to reject this opportunity to protect Hoosiers with fair maps and to reject the leadership of President Trump. Ultimately, decisions like this carry political consequences. I will be working with the president to challenge these people who do not represent the best interests of Hoosiers. Where are my Indiana people in the chat? What is going on in Indiana right now? Have you noticed this? This is a trend. This is where, like, a deeply red state, relatively, a state that, was once considered a swing state, not a swing state, it's a Republican state, a deeply red state. They don't know at all what the hell's going on or what time it is. They're not thinking clearly about the national implications. They become so decadent in their beliefs, and they're like, well, there's no consequences for this, and I'll just, I'll vote to maintain the status quo. And that's what we end up with. This is sclerotic. It's brain dead. It's not at all focused on what matters for the country at all. And none of these people who voted against that redraw should be in office anymore. I told you yesterday, they were saying this is the old Mitch Daniels assessment, Mitch Daniels coalition in Indiana, where basically everybody just goes along to get along. Well, it's the decent thing to do. We can't redraw these maps. We have to try and keep them as fair as possible. That's what we need to do. Fair as possible. Fellas, the whole game is rigged against you. If this were a game of basketball, Democrats have 14 players on the court. You have one, and the refs have already determined the score goes to the Democrats. That's how they're playing. That's exactly how they're playing. And yet, you're just letting it go. You're just like, well, it would be fair if I continue to play by the same rules. No, it's not. You idiots. You're morons. And so Democrats continue their election riggings across the country, and Republicans, it's like pulling teeth just to get them to come in our direction. That's the fight that we have. And I hate what I'm seeing. I have a message. This is not just for my audience, but a message for elected Republicans or anybody running for elective office across the country, any Republican. Here's what I want you to know. Here's the message I keep seeing. I'm getting a lot of incoming right now from people who are like, I'm fed up with it. I'm just completely sick of it. I'm tapping out of the political process. I had one guy yesterday. He's like, oh, we're tearing up our Republican Party registration cards. I'm done with these guys. You understand the effect of selling out your own voters is you blackpill people. People check out of the political process. They decide that the Democrats are out to get them and the Republicans are too feckless to protect them. So why am I engaging at all? Why am I busting my ass for people who are not going to protect me at all? What kind of security system is this? The door is wide open. The villains keep coming in. What am I paying for? What am I working for? That's where you leave people. You leave them dejected, upset, and revolutionary in some cases. Don't do this, you idiots. You still have time to turn it around, but it is running out. So that's what we're left with in Indiana. And, the other thing is that you had Indiana politicians who were lying to the White House about this. J.D. Vance said yesterday on Twitter that Rod Bray in Indiana, the Senate leader in Indiana, was consistently saying, this is what J.D. Vance revealed, telling the White House that he wouldn't fight redistricting at all. But behind the scenes, he was whipping his members against it. That's how we ended up with a majority of the Republicans in the state Senate of Indiana voting against doing something good for the country. J.D. Vance said that level of dishonesty cannot be rewarded. The Indiana Republican Party needs to choose a side. By the way, J.D. Vance was responding to a tweet from Donald Trump Jr., who said he's going to personally commit to spending a lot of time in Indiana this coming year campaigning against every single one of these people who are sabotaging the Make America Great Again agenda. So you want to get active? You want to be involved in something that helps America? Let's primary these people. Let's get involved in making sure every one of these Indiana Republicans, yes, that's right. It's 2 seats we're talking about. 2. That's all we were asking for, and they couldn't even deliver that. Well, good. Get out of office. Leave. J.D. Vance, Donald Trump Jr., the lot of them, people who actually care about making America great again, are saying, yeah, well, you know what's coming next. We're getting rid of you. I saw the Turning Point guys are saying the same thing. We're getting rid of you. Good. Let's do that. Because as upsetting and as cynical as this makes me, I still do believe that this country is worth saving, and I'm looking for every avenue to do that. So in other words, I'm not blackpilling. I'm not giving up on the process. But these politicians need to know that there are people out there that do that. They're like, I'm done. I'm done. What am I going to do this for anymore? I'm here to tell you, don't give up, double down. Don't give up, double down. The left definitely wants us to tap out. Do not tap out at all. President Trump is not tapping out. Neither am I. That's what's happening in Indiana. So that's That's the fight. And yes, we've got names. Tyler Boyer at well, you've got to let me share this with you because that's a great question. People are asking for names in the chat. Stand by. Tyler Boyer over at Turning Point just posted a massive list of the names of the lawmakers who were involved in this cruelty. So I want to make sure to share it with you. What I'm going to do is I'll post it to my X account so you can see it there. But we've got a list of all the names of these Indiana senators who were working against us, and that's a big deal. So I'll share that with you. I'll get to it. It's in my files. I don't want to mess around with it right now on the podcast, but I'll post it to my X account as quickly as I can. Oh, here it is. Here it is. I say that and I find it. Here it is, fellas. For those of you watching on rumble.com/Vince, the official map of what he's saying are the Indiana winners and the losers. And he's got a big list here. Names in green, those are the good guys. Names in red, those are the bad guys. And there's a huge list there. I just retweeted it to my X account. You can find it there. And let's all stay in the fight. Let's do that, shall we? All right. Here we go. We've got something else to get to today. Minnesota, for those of you in Minnesota, we've got great people everywhere, all across the country. You've been dealing with Somali fraud. There are people who've been stealing your money like crazy. And we've seen estimates anywhere from $1 to $8 billion. And it's just out of control, taxpayer money being stolen. Now we have yet another update. Remember, the reason we know that so much of this money's been stolen is there had already been court cases. And it turns out the people who keep being found guilty of all of this theft are Somali. The Somali community in Minnesota has been stealing a crap ton of money from me and you, and from specifically the taxpayers in Minnesota. And CBS, to their credit, they went through the files and they were able to establish the kinds of things that these thieves were buying. These Somali pirates were buying with your money. And here's what they have for us today. They say luxury cars and private villas. Luxury cars and private villas. Minnesota fraudsters spent millions that were intended for hungry kids. Those fraudsters, by the way, are Somali. CBS takes until the second paragraph to tell you that. There are many of Somali descent, they say. But they took taxpayer money meant to feed hungry children and used it to buy cars, property, and jewelry. Videos show them popping champagne at an opulent Maldives resort. In a text message, one defendant boasted, "You're going to be the richest 25-year-old, inshallah. God willing." The documents feature exhibits from a recent federal trial, and they've got a bunch of things. The exhibits include, there's a confirmation email for a stay in an overwater villa with a private pool at the Radisson Blue Resort in the Maldives. There's a picture of that here, rumble.com/Vince. You can see what a beautiful arrangement. Look at that, a gorgeous place to spend a honeymoon. This is at taxpayer expense. All this money flowing in, they've stolen all of it. These guys staying in these luxurious honeymoon suites. I've never in my life had a vacation like this. I would love to do something like that. I've never. They did it at my expense. How about that? They did it at your expense. Stealing taxpayer money, flying to this beautiful over-the-water hotel room, and they stole all this money from you. What else did they steal? They had a lakefront property in Minnesota. Check that out. There's a beautiful lakefront property in Minnesota, a gorgeous home, extended driveway, right on the lake, beautiful docks. You could get out, you could water ski, you could do a little bit of fishing. That's all at your expense. Wonderful. What else did they steal? Receipts show wire transfers to China and East Africa, par for the course. First class tickets to Istanbul and Amsterdam. A 2021 Porsche Macan. Look at that Porsche. That's a nice Porsche SUV. Man, I bet that thing hauls. It's got to go fast. Beautiful as it's coasting down the road. Stolen money, paying for it. Probably filling that gas tank with premium gas every time they stop at the pump. There you got a Porsche Macan. What else did they steal from us? Stacks of cash. And they were taking pictures of all of the cash they were stealing. And they were texting it between the defendants. Look at all the nice stuff you and I have paid for. An entire box of cash. Check that out. Look at that. Lots of money wrapped up in rubber bands. The biggest single collection of cash that anyone has probably ever seen in their life. That's $270,000 in cash right there, just all piled up. And that's all. Those are ill-gotten gains, all stolen. And it makes you wonder, why are Americans pissed off about this? Why are we so focused on this? Because you stole from us. And then you go on and you spend all that money on luxury vacations and cars and your beautiful lakefront properties and boxes of cash. And guess where that money didn't go? It didn't go to feed hungry kids. It didn't go to put the roofs over the heads of poor people who needed a place to stay. It didn't go to help autistic children, which is what people were claiming they were doing. None of that. They stole billions of dollars and they used it on joy rides, joy vacations, and all sorts of this nonsense. So a lot of these guys have already been convicted. They've been sentenced. This whole process has played out. Criminal justice has found them. But that's for the Somali lawbreakers. Here's what I want. I want the politicians who made all of this happen, like Tampon Tim Walz and the rest of them, to be held accountable too. How about prison for every single corrupt official who made that happen, where all of our stuff gets stolen and then used on that? It's not enough to see the Somalis arrested. They shouldn't even be here. I can't even believe we have to put them into the criminal justice system. We should be going after the people who enabled those Somalis to steal from us in the first place. And by the way, very likely at some level knew about this. In fact, we already know that there were whistleblowers coming forward going, hey, the Somalis are stealing from us. The Somalis are stealing from us. And that was all beaten down in the state of Minnesota because government officials were like, hey, let's not take a close look at this. It would be racist to look at the Somali community. We can't examine this too closely. Bullshit. They steal all that money from us. You deserve to be on the hook for it too. You let it happen. You made it happen. The White House got a piece of this CBS piece. They saw this too. Caroline Leavitt emphasizing overnight that this piece is worth reading about the Somali fraud rings in Minnesota. And she emphasized that the documents reveal the gross extent that these Somalis were stealing from us. That, by the way, that's a lesson for the press. You want the American people to take you seriously? You want the White House, this White House, to take you seriously? Write stories that actually matter. Write stories that have something to do with the well-being of the United States and the people who've committed crimes against us. You write those stories, Caroline Leavitt will be happy to talk about it. Very happy to talk about it because she wants to fix this too. All right, more ahead on this edition of Vince. We do have a lot to get to. Kristi Noem sat for a House hearing yesterday. You get the DHS secretary in front of you, you think maybe you'd ask her some real questions like, hey, how quick can we ramp up the pace of deportations? When are we going to get all the illegals out of our country? How difficult has this job been for ICE now that they've been shot at and left-wing crazy people are constantly impeding their ability to do their jobs? But instead of real questions for Kristi Noem, we got a full-blown circus out of the left yesterday. I'll take you through some of it. It's all so crazy. It's all ahead on Vince. But first, you know the holidays are always full of surprises. And because of that, I want to share something that has blown me away. When it comes to religious freedom, I was very shocked to learn what states rank very low on First Liberty Institute's Religious Liberty in the States Index. You know, they rank all 50 states, my friends at the First Liberty Institute. What they do is they look at all of them, and they're trying to figure out how well each state protects your right to live out your faith. It's a worthwhile endeavor, actually. And the results, completely full of surprises. Now, if you haven't heard of First Liberty, they're totally different because they've been on the front lines defending religious freedom for 3 decades. And here's the best part. When your faith comes under attack, they're actually usually the first in the fight. What I mean by that is they go in, they fight these court cases. They have a win rate of over 90%. 90% is huge. They've got a 9-0 record at the Supreme Court. And they don't charge their clients a dime. Nothing. They don't send them a bill. Nothing. They're committed to protecting your religious freedom, which is why I believe that this state-by-state report is really important. Their Religious Liberty in the States Index is peer-reviewed, and it can help you get a real picture of religious liberty all across our great country. You want to see where your state stands, where it ranks? Get your free copy today at firstliberty.org/Vince. That's firstliberty.org/VINCE. Thank you, First Liberty. Great operation. Thank you for fighting for us, for religious liberty. The First Amendment to our Constitution. Man. So yesterday, Kristi Noem, the DHS secretary, goes in and sits down for this House hearing, and Democrats instantly turned it into a circus. They had a fella dressed up in a sacrilegious outfit. He was pretending to be a Catholic cardinal. I guess he got this at like a Halloween store or something. Shows up and begins chanting, this godless lefty begins chanting, quote, "The power of Christ compels you." Now, of course, Kristi Noem is the one who's attempting to restore order and peace. The left is trying to foment chaos and sow disorder. That's what they're doing. So watch as this guy tries to turn the entire world on its head by disrupting the hearing yesterday. Cut 2, watch.
My family with me. I'd like to introduce them to you.
And deportations.
The disruptions of congressional business is a violation of law, is a criminal offense under federal law. Audience members are advised to take their seats and maintain order. The chairman may now ask Capitol Police to remove and arrest the persons creating the disturbance.
Get eyes off our streets. Stop terrorizing our community. Get eyes off our streets. Stop terrorizing our community. Get eyes off our...
I love how stupid that is. It's just so cartoonishly dumb. Stop ICE from terrorizing our community. First of all, your demonizing ICE has led to a 1,000% increase in assaults on ICE. But the other thing is, like, of course, this is just like a naked, inverted recitation of the facts. It's a lie where they say that ICE is causing chaos, terrorizing communities. No, ICE is rescuing communities from terror. ICE is rescuing communities that have been terrorized by illegal aliens who've committed crimes and have been allowed to get away with it for years by cruel left-wing leaders who refuse to do anything but advance the chaos. So ICE is finally going in, cleaning things up. And what did you and I vote for in the last election? For these ICE guys to go in. We want peace and security in our country. We want law and order. And of course, you get the disorder people. Here's a question. How does a guy show up dressed as a cardinal and nobody grabbed him as he tried to walk into the room? Is he sitting there in the costume the whole time? Oh yeah, that seems like a totally normal outfit that you would wear to a congressional hearing. Yeah. How about some decorum for what you're supposed to wear to a congressional hearing? Maybe a jacket and tie, you know? Maybe you wear a shirt collar when you go and not a phony, cardinal collar. It's like, what happened? So anyway, that guy made his way into the hearing, and then they had a series of people. They time it out. It's like once the first guy's got his ass thrown out, the next guy stands up and starts chanting. All designed to disrupt the hearing. It's not about fact-finding. It's not about providing an open forum for real conversation or oversight. It's about causing chaos. And it wasn't just in the crowd. On the dais, the lefties were doing this too. There's a bunch of horrific things. Benny Thompson, you remember him from the stupid January 6th committee. Here's Benny Thompson yesterday saying that the terror attack on the National Guard that was incited by these lefties who keep saying that the National Guard are the bad guys, the terror attack on the National Guard was just a very unfortunate accident. Like the National Guard just tripped and fell over and landed on top of an Afghani terrorist. Listen to Benny Thompson be a total ass yesterday. Watch.
And the gentleman from NCTC referenced the unfortunate accident that occurred with the National Guardsman being killed.
You think that was an unfortunate accident?
I mean,
It was a terrorist attack.
Wait. Look, I'll get it straight. Then you can
He shot our National Guardsman in the head.
Look, Mr. Chairman, will you direct the witness to allow me to ask my question? It was an unfortunate situation, but you blamed it solely on Joe Biden. I want you to know who approved the asylum application for this same person.
Mr. Thompson, this individual that came into the country.
No, I want to know who approved.
Congressman Thompson, I want you to understand. When this individual came into the country, he came under.
Yeah, Biden let the guy in. So Benny Thompson said he wanted to ask his question. He did ask his question. When he said that this terror attack was a, quote, unfortunate accident, he asked that question immediately. What a phony and stupid question. What a jerk that guy is. Unfortunate accident. Who talks like this? You had a guy just You know, a woman just killed, a National Guardsman killed in the streets of their nation's capital. There's another National Guardsman fighting for his life in a hospital right now. And a sitting United States congressman has nothing to say, but it's an unfortunate accident. It is echoes of Ilhan Omar saying that 9/11 was just some people did something. These euphemisms to describe horrific terror attacks on our country because you're okay with them? Is that what you're implying when you say that? Or you're embarrassed that they happened because they sort of imply something about you or your party or your affiliations? How about just being honest? How about loving your country for once? Why is it constantly rooting against us, including the people who protect it? The idea that he would come into that question and feel like he's got to, like, you know, just walk around with kid gloves about the fact that a terror attack just occurred, just state it plainly. Or else we become legitimately suspicious about your intentions. Yeah, you did ask your question immediately. Benny Thompson would go on, despite the fact that he would, you know, put on that shit show. He immediately started calling for Kristi Noem's resignation yesterday. Watch.
But you have systematically dismantled the Department of Homeland Security, put your own interests above the department, and violated the law. You are making America less safe. So rather than sitting here and wasting your time and ours with more corruption, lies, and lawlessness, I call on you to resign. Do a real service to the country and just resign. That is, if President Trump doesn't fire you first.
Yeah, there's Benny Thompson. You know, you need to resign for what? For doing a good job? For getting 3 million illegals out of the country? What? Why? Because the border's secure? Yeah, horrific job, Kristi Noem. No, I'm happy. Kristi Noem's doing a good job. Kristi Noem's doing a good job. And Benny Thompson doesn't like it. Benny Thompson doesn't like it because he doesn't like secure borders. He likes the old way. He likes the open border. He likes the crime. That's what he likes. He doesn't like law enforcement. That's the message Benny Thompson is sending. So who should resign in this equation? Benny frickin' Thompson should resign. He wasn't the only one who used the hearing to say that Kristi Noem needs to go because she's effective. The guy with the painted on eyebrows, Sri Tendahar, the hilarious, over-the-top Indian accent wielding Democrat congressman, face planted again yesterday. Cut 8. Watch Sri do what he always does.
I am sick of your lies. The American people are sick of these lies. American people demand truth.
America is very happy that finally they have a president in the White House that gets up every day to keep them safe.
Madam Secretary, your incompetence and your inability to truthfully carry out your duties of Secretary of Homeland Security, if you're not fired, will you resign?
Sir, I will consider your asking me to resign as an endorsement of my work. Thank you very much.
And she should, by the way. I think you should resign. I think everybody associated with Trump should resign. Trump should resign. I want everyone I do not like to resign. I don't like you because you don't like me. Resign. Your eyebrows should resign. Your wig should resign. You should resign. Get the hell out of Congress, you lunatic. That's Sri Tendahar, the ever-present SNL character who keeps showing up. He's like, the guy's like constantly calling for everybody to be impeached. Like, Sri, what are you working on today? I'm trying to impeach Trump. Why? I have no idea. What? Why are you trying to impeach Trump? Who are you trying to impeach next week? Pete Hegseth. I do not like Pete Hegseth. I want him to resign. He's trying to get Pete Hegseth to go. The guy's a never-ending series of both hilarious and ridiculous statements. Sri Tendahar. So that's I like Sri Tendahar clips just so I can impersonate him. That's my favorite thing. So we'll keep bringing those back. I still don't have one of those wigs, fellas. I don't know. I got to find a wig. I got to find a Sri Tendahar wig so we can really sell the impersonation. We'll nail this at some point. He's unreal. The eyebrows. Doesn't he look like he used one of Donald Trump's Sharpies to put the eyebrows on? You know, like that's a very thick Sharpie they used to draw the eyebrows on that guy's face. That has to be one of Donald Trump's signature Sharpies. In fact, he should let Donald Trump do it someday. Just take a Trump marker from the White House and have President Trump draw the eyebrows on and then sign the Donald Trump signature right on his forehead. Wouldn't that be good? I think that'd be perfect. That'd be good. Sri Tendahar. He's unreal. I can't believe I'm glad we discovered that he's even in Congress. That guy's in Congress? What contest did he win to get there? Yeah, he's in Congress. All right, more in a moment. One of the Democrats up on the dais did make up a full-blown story. These Democrats have nothing to run on. They're like, their whole thing is like, hey, the Trump administration's ruining everything. Okay, give me an example. And then they just make shit up. Yeah, another wrap-up smear advanced yesterday, directed at Kristi Noem. I've got that coming up for you. Immediately debunked. But it didn't stop Democrats from running a fake victory lap yesterday. That's all I had on this edition of Bits. Thanks for being with us, the best audience anywhere. Hey, everyone. So the Kristi Noem hearing continues yesterday, and there was a moment where one of the Democrats just straight up made up a claim that the Trump administration is deporting American war heroes. Let me repeat it. The Trump administration, this lefty lied, is deporting American war heroes. We're just picking war heroes up off the street and we're deporting them from the United States. This guy's name is Magaziner. That's the name of the congressman. And here he is yesterday trying this gotcha moment with Kristi Noem. Cut 5, watch this.
Madam Secretary, we are joined on Zoom by a gentleman named Sejun Park. He is a United States Army combat veteran who was shot twice while serving our country in Panama in 1989. Like many veterans, he struggled with PTSD and substance abuse after his service. He was arrested in the 1990s for some minor drug offenses, nothing serious. He never hurt anyone besides himself, and he's been clean and sober for 14 years. He is a combat veteran, a Purple Heart recipient. He has sacrificed more for this country than most people ever have. Earlier this year, you deported him to Korea, a country he hasn't lived in since he was 7 years old. Will you join me in thanking Mr. Park for his service to our country?
Sir, I'm grateful for every single person that has served our country and follows our laws.
Can you please tell Mr. Park why you deported him?
Every one of them needs to be enforced.
But you understand that many veterans struggle with PTSD, many veterans struggle with substance abuse challenges. This man took 2 bullets for our country. You have broad authority, by the way, as secretary, to issue humanitarian parole, to do deferred action. Will you commit to at least looking at Mr. Park's case to see if you can help him find a pathway back to this country that he sacrificed so much for?
Yeah, oh, that's awful. I mean, what? The Trump administration deported a war veteran, an American hero? We sent him away? That's awful that we would do that. Well, I've got something to tell you. We didn't do that. It's a lie. DHS Assistant Secretary Tricia McLaughlin has the details. This man wasn't deported. He self-deported. He left on his own. He went back to Korea of his own accord. Nothing to do with a deportation. And in fact, he was not even an American citizen. Not an American citizen. He had a green card at one point, and because of his substance abuse, it went away during the Obama administration. So he violated our laws, and he had a green card. It went away under Obama. He's been here for years illegally, and now he has self-deported back to South Korea. Am I missing something here? Here's what Tricia McLaughlin says. Sejun Park's extensive criminal history includes convictions for assault, possessing, manufacturing, or selling a dangerous weapon, carrying a loaded firearm in a public place, and criminal possession of a controlled substance. In 2010, an immigration judge issued him an order of removal. Park's appeal to the Board of Immigration Appeals that same month was dismissed by the board in April of 2011. With no legal basis to remain in the U.S. and a final order of removal, Park was allowed to self-deport to Korea. President Trump and Secretary Noem have been clear criminal illegal aliens are not welcome in the United States. Oh, so the wrap-up smear turned out to be yet another wrap-up smear. It was just a lie. There's no truth to this. We're not sending war heroes away. The guy broke our laws. He's not an American citizen. He's here illegally, and he's self-deported. We're not missing anything. We've got the details. You've got the lies. And in fact, New York Post reporter went on television last night on CNN and ripped the whole panel to shreds for this. Her name is Lydia Moynihan. And she goes, you know what? This is why people hate congressional hearings. And this is why people don't trust the media. Watch this. Cut 10. Watch cut 10 here. This New York Post reporter just rip everybody a new one.
This is why people hate congressional hearings, and this is why people don't trust the media, is because the reality is Mr. Park, while he was here, never chose to pursue citizenship. He was here on a green card. Under Obama, that green card was revoked because of drug possession. And ultimately, he made the decision that he wanted to self-deport. That is a decision he made. It was not like ICE raided his home, took him from his family, and deposited him in a foreign land.
We do know that ICE has been
to self-deport.
I love at the end of that clip that Abby Phillip is like, well, wait a second. There's got to be a way for us to impugn the Trump administration here. Hold on a second. Don't just give us all of the facts. Let's lean back into the smear for a moment so that we can try and make Donald Trump look bad. Donald Trump looks pure as the driven snow. Donald Trump looks like a guy who's just doing the job that we asked him to do. That's it. And that includes getting illegals out of the country. That guy's an illegal alien with a final order of deportation that dates back to the Obama administration, and he was still in our country up until recently when he self-deported to Korea. So stop lying to us. By the way, lefties all over the internet yesterday were high-fiving each other. Good job, we finally got him. Trump's so cruel. This is perfect. Excellent job, Congressman Magaziner. It was a lie. It was another lie. Another wrap-up smear by these jackasses. So in case you hear that one this weekend, do you know Trump deported a military veteran? It was a lie. And now you know why. Now you know why. The efforts to the efforts to turn that hearing into a circus continued yesterday. It wasn't that Democrat congressman. Wasn't just that Democrat congressman. Also, the woman who assaulted law enforcement herself, LaMonica McIver, decided to turn the hearing into a personal bitch fest. Oh, how dare you come after me for assaulting law enforcement? Here's LaMonica McIver, cut 7, bitching and moaning that accountability is coming in her direction.
So I'll ask you this. Is Trump embarrassed by your tenure, or is this exactly the kind of god-awful leadership he wants at DHS? Yes or no?
Ma'am, we've already conducted more oversight visits.
No. It's a yes or no. Yes or no. Okay, Secretary Noem, this is my time to talk, not your time to talk. I reclaim my time. I reclaim my time. I reclaim my time. Chair, I reclaim my time. Secretary Noem, DHS is breaking the law, hiding information from Congress and shutting out oversight. So let me ask you, how can the American people trust your department with you at the helm with this kind of behavior?
The American people absolutely trust this department to keep them safe. And we are showing that every day by the support we get across the country, the amount of people that we're recruiting to all of our different agencies.
Thank you, Secretary Noem. Do you agree that using DHS resources to target members of Congress is an abuse of power?
Excuse me, would you say that
You
again?
would have heard me if you stopped talking and listened to my questions. Do you agree that using DHS resources to target members of Congress is an abuse of power?
We are not doing that. We are out there enforcing the law, doing our work, and we are allowing oversight.
Of course, we're not going to get any answers with that, Mr. Chairman.
I love it. I love that Kristi Noem's just like, whatever, I'm not bothered by this. You're the one who assaulted law enforcement. You're the one who has to FO after you FA'd. I'm not worried at all. We're just doing the job we're supposed to be doing. And that Congresswoman, if she axed anything, it was her credibility. She axed her ability to be believed as some sort of reputable steward of the American people's trust. She assaulted law enforcement, and now she's bitching that she's being held accountable in a court of law for that. Sorry, sweetheart. That's what you asked for when you attacked law enforcement. And that's what you got. That's what you got. As LaMonica McIver yesterday. Unreal, man. It's like the whole time, the whole hearing, it was just a circus. And it goes back to what I said before. If I had the DHS secretary sitting in front of me right now, if I was a member of Congress and I was trying to just get some answers from her, what would I want to know? I'd want to know about the pace of deportations. I want to know about the situation on our border. I want to know more about whether or not we're getting any fentanyl leaking through. You know, are you catching any still? Is that happening? I'd want to know, how many ICE agents have you hired so far? You're supposed to be hiring 10,000 new ones or more on the way. I'd have real questions for this lady. But instead, you get a bunch of fake questions and smears and personal grievances. And I hate Trump, so I'm going to express it here. And Sri Tenda are telling you that he thinks you should resign. You are horrible. You should go. It's like, what are you? Everybody's wasting time. And you know what sucks? in addition to wasting our time, we got to pay these idiots. I got to pay you $174,000 a year or whatever it is that you're making in order for you to stand up there and just waste everybody's time and just drag us into smear sessions. That is why people hate Congress. That is why people are sick of this crap. Because we have to keep being subjected to it. Thank you to Kristi Noem for subjecting herself to that, despite the fact that should have never happened. She did that yesterday. All right. Let me see. I've got something else I want to get. I want to get to Gavin Newsom now. I need to get to Gavin Newsom with you because the clip I'm about to show you should be the clip that destroys what's left of his political career. The governor of California just sat down with the New York Times and did a podcast with them. And during his conversation with the New York Times, he said out loud that he has a position that almost nobody else in America shares. And that position is that he believes that boys should be convinced that they are girls and vice versa. That a child should be convinced that they were born in the wrong body. And as a result, boys should play in girls' sports. This is so completely cruel. It's beyond the pale. It should destroy whatever's left of Gavin Newsom's career. Why don't you take a look at this? Here is cut 11. Gavin Newsom telling us how he really feels. Watch.
We didn't get into trans sports. That's an issue no one wants to hear about because 80% of the people listening disagree with my position on this. But it comes from my heart, not just my head. It wasn't a political evolution. Your position being that I don't think it's. I want to see trans kids. I have a trans godson. There's no governor that's signed more pro-trans legislation than I have, and no one has been a stronger advocate for the LGBTQ community.
I want to see trans kids. I have a trans godson, he says. Let's unpack what that means. You know, there are, insofar as there's any debate remaining on this issue of people calling themselves transgender, the people who are still clinging to it say things like, oh, this is for adults to decide. They can do what they want with their bodies, and we have to care for them as adults, and yada, yada, yada. Like the final territory that anybody's even fighting on this subject is really for adults. Nobody, except the cruelest, most demented people in our country would dare say that a child is born in the wrong body, that we should trans children, that we should put them under the knife or inject them full of hormones. We should convince them of a delusion. We should affirm a delusion. We just should destroy their lives while they're young. Nobody of any decency, the majority of the population, doesn't feel like that. Gavin Newsom knows that. He just said out loud, I know almost everybody disagrees with me, but we should trans children. You are sick. And then he goes on to say, the reason he feels this way is he has a trans godson, he declares. What does that mean? Now, of course, by now, what you know exactly what that means, that there's a child that's somehow a part of Gavin Newsom's life who is a girl. And Gavin Newsom is calling him a boy. He says, this is my godson. Now, even more poisonous in the midst of all of this, in the midst of that abuse of that child, is that he would dare use the word God to describe this relationship. In the world I grew up in, if you are a God parent, if you have a God child, what that traditionally means is that you were present at their baptism and that you make a commitment to be a spiritual advisor to that child during their upbringing into adulthood. You're their God parent. You are conveying the eternal gift of God to the child. That's the point. And Gavin Newsom just said, I have a godson. It's a girl who he is participating in affirming a delusion that that child is a boy, violating the very gift that God gave the kid to begin with. It goes back to the book of Genesis. From the very beginning of the Bible, it's really clear that God creates man and creates woman. These are distinct categories. And Gavin Newsom, who is thoroughly convinced that he is God, calls himself the godfather to this girl and calls that girl a boy. How disgusting could it possibly get? Well, that's an expression of it. That's how disgusting it can get. And This should haunt Gavin Newsom for the rest of his political career. That man should be nowhere near elective office, and for that matter, children. If you are that openly bragging about your abuse of children, you have no business being near them or being an influence over them or being involved in the school system. None of it. Stay away from kids. You're disgusting. In addition, he's doubling down on this position. Now, Gavin Newsom says this, and then that clip was noticed by quite a few people, to include Elon Musk's America PAC. America PAC posted this clip, and they didn't do anything but quote it. They didn't even post any sort of like opinionated assessment of it. They merely quoted it. Here's what it looked like. For those of you at rumble.com/Vince, you can see it just says California Governor Gavin Newsom. I want to see trans kids. There's no governor that's done more pro-trans legislation than I have. That's it. Just a very basic quote here. Well, Gavin Newsom's press office has responded to this. And they did it in a very vile way, as expected. They've doubled down on being vile. And here's what they said. They said, correct. We're sorry your daughter hates you, Elon. We are sorry your daughter hates you. Elon Musk has not been shy about telling the story of how he came to the American right, how he decided he had to support Trump for president, why he committed so forcefully last year to see Republicans get elected and for Democrats to get the hell out of office. Elon Musk has described that he has a child who has been overtaken by what he refers to as the woke mind virus, pushed on his child by the left, his son. This is his son that has succumbed to this cruelty. And Elon Musk said that was a radicalizing experience for him, and it made him realize just how vile the left is and how he has to get away from them. And Governor Newsom is mocking Elon for this and condemning Elon for doing the right thing. Elon has responded to this now. Elon Musk posted the following to X. He said, I assume you're referring to my son, Xavier, who has a tragic mental illness caused by the evil woke mind virus you push on vulnerable children. I love Xavier very much. I hope he recovers. He says, my daughters, Azur, Exa, who goes by Y, and Arcadia, those are my daughters, and they do indeed love me very much, says Elon. Well, good for Elon for standing up for reality. Good for Elon for standing up for his boy. And good for Elon for continuing to push. You see Elon there, he said he hopes he recovers. I would add, Elon, you should also pray he recovers. Elon did indicate in an interview recently that he does believe in a creator. So I think he's edging towards some acknowledgement of God and the eternal. But this is a real battle. What we're witnessing is a spiritual battle. And Gavin Newsom has chosen a side. Now, having said all that, I do believe that no one is beyond redemption. No one, to include Gavin Newsom. And Gavin should wake up from the poison that he's spewing. He should wake up. And he should stop abusing that child. Gavin, you should become a force for good in the life of the child who you just described as, what was it? As his godchild, whatever. Like he got the gender wrong. That's the point. You should tell that child the truth. And here's the truth. That kid wasn't born in the wrong body. That kid is a gift from God. And you should treat that child that way. Stop abusing the kid. Gavin Newsom. No, he should not become president of the United States. And ladies and gentlemen, as he gets closer to that bid, which of course he's going to do, he wants to run for president, this clip should haunt him for the rest of his political career. It's just too much. It's just too much. And we have to stop it. Yes, that's right. VZ1 has it right. It's good versus evil. It's good versus evil. And is it true? Somebody said that I need to be my mind refreshed because I don't remember his conversation with Charlie Kirk. But Gavin Newsom, when he was talking to Charlie Kirk, seemed to indicate that he thought that the transgender stuff had gone too far, that the left had taken it too far. So in the midst of all of this, as he's talking about this with different audiences, he's a snake too. He's demonstrating these snake-like greasy qualities that this keeps spelling out everywhere. And he thinks he's slick. He thinks he can sweet talk you, depending on the audience. There he was talking to the New York Times. He's like, I'm all for transing the kids. I'm big on transing children. Okay, well, that clip's going to haunt you everywhere. That's my plan anyway. Gavin Newsom. And we'll see. We'll see what happens with him. Let's see. Any final things to get to with you today? Yeah, the Tyler Robinson thing happened yesterday. Tyler Robinson, Charlie Kirk's assassin, appears in court yesterday. And they were debating things like how much information should be shared with the public, whether or not cameras should be present in the courtroom. And one of the things that we got from that event is that the judge did rule that cameras can remain in the courtroom during at least the hearing phase here. I know Erica Kirk wants the entire trial to be televised. She wants people to see what this man did to her husband. And I agree. I think that would be important to see that, to have a full hearing on all of this and let people see that trial, the evidence against Tyler Robinson, and everything. Televise it. I think that's wise. So that was being debated yesterday. The judge seemed okay with it, although the judge was scolding some of the media outlets who apparently were transmitting recordings outside of the official sessions of the court proceedings. So he was pretty stern. District Judge Tony Graff in Utah was pretty stern with the media yesterday, saying the only time that you're filming and transmitting is during the official proceedings, nothing outside of that. So we'll see if that holds, and we'll see if any media outlets violate the judge's wishes there, the judge's orders there. But a lot of people were commenting on the fact that Tyler Robinson, as he appeared in court yesterday, appeared completely unbothered by the fact that he just murdered a human being, and he was smiling and chit-chatting with his lawyer. He seemed to be having a grand old time. He seemed more relaxed than a lot of people that just go to their 9 to 5 every day. Here's Tyler Robinson yesterday in court. Look at this, cut 9.
On the docket today, perhaps one of the most important issues, there was an October 24th hearing in which Judge Graff determined Robinson will be allowed to wear civilian clothing in court, as you see on your screen right now, but he has to remain shackled. Now, also in that October 24th hearing, general security measures and other issues of fairness in this trial were discussed in a closed portion.
Yeah, no, somebody just said in the chat, he seems like a sociopath. Yeah, he does. He definitely does. He reeks of that. And there he is, just, cool, calm, and collected, just having a grand old time sitting there and just waiting for the proceedings to move forward. We'll see. That might be a sign of what's to come if this is televised. And if there's any camera angle that captures Tyler Robinson's reactions to the proceedings in the court, hard to tell at this point. We're not in the trial phase, but once we get there, we may get some indication of how many camera angles we get, including on the stand, on the judge, on the defendant. But that may be a sign of things to come. Tyler Robinson may be demonstrating some pretty outrageous behavior throughout this entire trial. We'll see. But right now, Charlie Kirk's widow, Erica, is calling for cameras in that courtroom to capture every moment. She said, my husband's murder was televised to the whole planet. The guy who killed him, yeah, his trial should be televised. His trial should be televised. He should be subjected to that kind of scrutiny. So we will see. I am praying for you, as I always do. I always pray for you. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful American weekend with your loved ones. We're not that far away from Christmas, ladies and gentlemen. What is it, the 12th today? So, if my gazintas and gazautas are correct, we've got, 13 days? 13 days before we get to Christmas. It's barreling towards us. Finish up the shopping list this weekend. Do yourself a favor, will you? Now's the time. Now's the time. I've got the big national radio show coming up today, The Vince Show. You can get your local listings. Go to thevinceshow.com and find out what your local broadcast radio station is doing, where I am all across the country. Or you can watch us on Rumble, rumble.com/Vince. We do the show live. We've got the Rumble audience, just like I have right now on the podcast. We got a Rumble audience with us the whole time. We have a great time every single day. I look forward to seeing you there. And by the way, if this is the first time you're with us, or if you've been with us a couple times but you haven't fully committed yet, now's your chance. A great Christmas gift to me would be to like the show while you're watching us right now, to subscribe to it, and then maybe to share it with some friends. If you want to go the distance here, share it with some friends. We love the country. We know you do too, and we want to keep spreading that message. Thank you for your help in that. I'll be back with you on Monday. Up next, right here on Rumble, Steven Crowder is doing his thing. That's up next.